Yo, what's going on? Another week of action. Great games. You already know where we're finna start. Let's talk about this Lamar versus Kansas City game. Back quarterback central. Let's get into it. So hey, if you don't know, my name is Keith. I do Black Quarterback Series. Revamped the channel. It's now Black Quarterback Central. I do everything Black quarterback related. And today we have an NFL centric episode. I'll do a separate video for my college guys. Just didn't have time to look into their games this week, but I will certainly look into their games later on this week. So we're gonna start with the big game this week. The Ravens versus Kansas City. I've done a review on this game already on the channel. I'm gonna link it above. There's my initial reactions to it, like raw emotions. So I sat down and recorded that video like 5 minutes after the game went off. So if you want raw emotions, go look at that video. It's gonna be linked up top. So more in the statistical element of the game. So it starts off. This is a Sunday night game. So everybody in the country is watching, and Lamar came to play. Didn't look like it at first, but when it all came down to it, Lamar came to play. He was 18 for 26, 239 yards through the air, a touchdown, 2 interceptions. We'll get to those in a minute. 16 carries, 107 yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns, and a 2-3 yard rush to seal the game. So the game starts off, we're going to go from Lamar's side, then we're going to go from Kansas City side. So the game starts off as Kansas City, Kansas City being Kansas City. Lamar throws 2 really, really bad interceptions. Both of them were really awful. But the first one you can justify because Sammy Watkins slipped and he was in a spot that he shouldn't have been. Tyrann Mathieu picks it off. The second one, Lamar just throws a duck and it's picked off. I don't know what he was looking at. So at this point, I can't remember the score, but they're down. And it goes back and forth for a minute. Lamar scores a touchdown. Pat Mahomes scores a touchdown. It goes back and forth for a minute. Back and forth for a while, to the point where in the fourth quarter, start of the fourth quarter, it is 24 to 36, I think? 35. So everybody's thinking that, this game is pretty much over, and, I'm getting ready for the week. I'm getting ready for this video. And I'm just going to sit in here and watch the rest of the game as I get ready for the video. And the defense finally steps up. They come off a bad, sloppy first half. Lamar that missed a couple touchdowns. Just really, really bad football. Defense played terrible. And so I'm thinking it's over. And so the defense steps up. After giving up, I think it was 45 yards. After giving a 45-yard touchdown to Travis Kelce, where he just outran the whole team to get the touchdown. After that happens, I don't think they score any more points after that. Because at that point, it's 35 to 24 at that point. And the Ravens score the next couple touchdowns and it's game over from there. But how we got to that point is spectacular. So the Ravens just said, forget it. We're a running team. We're going to run the ball. The Ravens starts gassing. They've been gassing them all game, but it's a little more than normal at this point. So they start gassing them. Lamar's running his options and throwing great darts down the field and, turning into the quarterback that we wanted to be. And this wouldn't have even started if the defense didn't step up and get that big pick late in the fourth quarter to propel them to score again. Because scoring wasn't a problem. Getting stops is the problem. If Lamar didn't throw the pick six early in the game, the Ravens might have ran away with it if everything stays the same. So we get to this point. Patrick Mahomes throws an interception because he's trying to be too cute. If I find out, I can show it. He falls, trying to make a play, taps up in the air, and Ravens pick it off, and the Ravens are off to the races at that point. And so the Ravens are off to the races at that point, and Lamar just it turns into Lamar. You need a pass, boom. You need a run, boom. You need me to jump past it and throw it down for a touchdown. I'm doing that. Lamar just turning into the 99 overall that we know him to be, and so the Ravens take the lead, and Lamar just flips into the end zone on some crazy stuff. So Lamar flips into the end zone. Lamar gives the ball back to Patrick Mahomes, and we're thinking like, oh my God, they got like 2 timeouts. They got like 2-3 timeouts left. They had 2 timeouts left, and the Kansas City gets the ball back. And we think, okay, Patrick Mahomes finna run the ball down the field, and they're about to score. But Andy Reid does something he never does. He hands the ball off. He calls a running play. And I think it's Edwards-Helaire, he fumbles the ball, and that pretty much seals the game. But the Ravens still have to run the clock out. So the Ravens still have to run the clock out. They're at 4th and 1, and John Harbaugh makes one of the gutsiest calls. Not only is it 4th and 1, but they're on the 40. So if they don't get this, Kansas City can kick a field goal, and it's over. John Harbaugh asks Lamar, do you want to go for it? And Lamar says, hell yeah. And Lamar talks about it in his press conference. I'm going to let you guys see right now.
Oh, you want to go for it? I'm like, hell yeah. Again, I said it again. Like Seattle 2 years ago. And he told me to play. I'm like, we should spread him out. And Coach James Irvin, my QB coach, he like, you got to go. I'm like, man, I got to get this first down no matter what. I got to jump, dive through a defender. And O-line did a great job pushing those guys back. Got the first down for the victory.
Lamar's like, hell yeah, I want to go for it. They go for it. They get the 4th and 1 ball game. Tremendous showing by Lamar. I don't know if I said this already, but Lamar had 339 all-purpose yards, 2 interceptions, and 3 touchdowns if you count all his numbers together. Just a phenomenal performance. They said Lamar has thrown for 200 and rushed for 100 in 4 games in his career. I think it was 4 games in his career. I'm gonna have to stat check that. But just to even be on a list like that is crazy. Like, to completely dominate the game like that is nothing short of phenomenal. So there's two ends of this spectrum, so to speak. And so we have Lamar's side, then so we have Patrick Mahomes' side. So Patrick Mahomes all night, I don't know, maybe something's going on with him, maybe they didn't have a good week of practice, but all game he just looked upset. Even when they were up 11 going into the 4th quarter, he didn't look like comfortable. And you could tell he just didn't look as confident. I don't know what it was going on. Because it's not like they wasn't dominating. Like, they were up 11 and it felt like they were up 30. So it's not like he wasn't dominating. So I'm not sure. The defense let him down. The defense let Kansas City down because Patrick Mahomes played well. Patrick Mahomes is 24 for 31, 343 yards, an interception and a touchdown. So you can't sit here and say that he didn't play well. He played well. It was just the defense didn't play well. Even if you take away the interceptions early, they played well early and just didn't play well late. Baltimore's defense played well late and played awful early. So big win for Lamar. Kansas City, I don't know who they play next week. I'm almost positive they'll bounce back. I know the schedule opens up for the Ravens because they play the Lions. I think they play one more smaller team. They might play Cincinnati, but the schedule opens up for them to where they can reel off some really good wins. But I think Kansas City has some questions on their defense because you can't just get better on defense like that. Now, granted, the Ravens are the best rushing team in the league, but you got to look at yourself like, what is going on with this defense? I always knew that Kansas City's downfall was going to be their defense because it's never really been really, really good. It's been good enough with one great player in Tyrone Matthews, but it's never been elite. It's never really, really been elite because if it's really... Patrick Mahomes would be sitting on 2 Super Bowls if the defense was even above average. because they would have beat the Patriots. They beat the Patriots the first time. So I don't know. So it remains to be seen with Kansas City. And just like Matthew said in the press conference, sometimes you need a good ass whooping to get yourself back together. And that's probably what this was for Kansas City. And so we're going to move on to the Saints. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm giving the Saints a complete pass this week. I'm giving Jameis Winston a complete pass this week. He was 11 for 22, 111 yards, and 2 interceptions. When you have almost 10 coaches out because of COVID, and they were vaccinated, which I don't know. That's a whole nother topic. But when you have 10 coaches that are out from COVID, it's kind of hard to do anything on any side of the ball. Sam Darnold looked great. Even though he's playing better this season, Sam Darnold shouldn't look that good. You know what I mean? So I just think that was the reason they lost. I think they lost because of poor coaching. Even though Sean Payton was there, they still lost 7-26. So I think it had a lot to do with coaching. Because Jameis Winston didn't look right. He looked uncomfortable and all this other stuff. So I think I'm going to put that game on coaching. Now, if they look like this week 3, then it's not coaching. So I put that game totally on coaching. And that's what I have. And that's what I have for that game. And so we got kind of a rapid fire portion of the show right now. So it's hurt again. So they say it's a hamstring injury, so he should be back. He should be back next week, hopefully. An official word hasn't came out yet that if he's playing next week or not. Obviously, it's Monday, so they don't know yet. But I think he'll be fine. He'll be fine. The coach said that Deshaun Watson will be inactive coming up week 3. But with Tua Tagovailoa getting hurt, the Dolphins might be willing to give anything to get a good quarterback. And especially with the legal stuff kind of dying down now, it remains to be seen if Deshaun can even get traded. And I think the Dolphins might be open to be trading him, depending on the severity of Tua's injury. If Tua's injury is super severe, you throw the house to get Deshaun, and whatever happens, happens. So that's all we really have on that. But Tyrod Taylor is hurt again, and man, he has to have the worst luck in like history of luck. It's just amazing. I feel bad for him. Shout out to him and his family. Justin Fields got to play. Because I don't even know his name. That's how irrelevant he is to me. Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton got hurt. I think it's a non-contact injury. I want to say, but I feel like I'm wrong. I'll make sure I show you the injury. Andy Dalton got hurt, tried to come back in, couldn't go. Got somebody to the locker room, didn't play no more. Justin Fields was 6 for 13, 60 yards, and interception. And he had a couple good rushes in there too. Led them to a win. They still ended up winning the game. So shout out to them. Hopefully Justin Fields is the starter next week. Let's stop playing this game as we're going to get him ready. Andy Dalton's not better. There was never a point in either of their histories where Andy Dalton was better than Justin Fields. Let's stop doing that. Let's stop doing that. And let's stop doing that. And just to throw away, I'm not seeing what people see in Mac Jones. I'm just not. Cam Newton could do what Mac Jones is doing in New England right now. Hell, we could do what Mac Jones is doing right now. I don't know if y'all can see me, but I'm handing the ball off to the running back. Like, I can check down. Like, we could do that. So, Cam could have been better. Of the 26 points that they had, I think only one was a passing touchdown. So, I don't know. I don't see the Mac Jones hype. But maybe I'm biased. Who knows? That's what this series is for. So, and so lastly, we have Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater plays in Denver, so he's not going to get a lot of push. Also, we had Jacoby Brissett played this week because our other guy that's not our guy, that I say he's not their guy, Carson Wentz is hurt again. He's not their guy. The more people realize that, the better we can go ahead and call him a bust, because he's not that guy. Like, he's been hurt most of his career. I know he had one MVP season and blah, 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 blah. If we're going to hold Carson Wentz to that standard, then we can hold Cam Newton to that same standard and say, Cam Newton had an MVP season. We should treat him like an MVP all the time. So, yeah. So, as usual, he's hurt again. Carson Wentz is hurt again, so there's no telling on his news yet. I'm sure I'll put something on the screen once I find it. But, so also we had the Jacoby Brissett sighting. He came in and relieved Tua. So that's good to see. It's always good to see an alternate version of our black quarterbacks because he don't really fit. He's not as good as Teddy Bridgewater, but he's not as bad as Geno Smith. So he's somewhere sitting in that middle. So it's always good to see that Jacoby Brissett is still in the league, helping as a backup. It's always good to see. And so we get back to Teddy. So Teddy was 26 for 34, 328 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like I said earlier, he plays in Denver, so not a lot of people see him. He's out there doing God's work. This might be the piece that they need to go further. I feel like I said that same thing about him in Carolina, and I probably said the same thing about him in Seattle as Drew Brees is backup. So I don't know. We never know with Teddy. We just really don't know. So, but he played well. He's playing well. He's playing well when you give him time to play. So I'm not mad at him for that. Keep balling, young bro. Hopefully you find a home in Denver because Denver is like starving for another quarterback. And every quarterback they've drafted has been bust after bust after bust. So hopefully he can find a home in Denver because I would love for Teddy Bridgewater to finally find a home. So yeah, that's my rapid fire round. All those stories are fairly clear. Some of the other guys that is going to take me forever to explain. So let's start with Arizona. He is just. If you're not watching Kyler Murray, you need to be watching Kyler Murray. I feel like I say that every year. Kyler Murray is, and including Lamar, he might be the most spectacular splash play guy I've ever seen in my life. And my football acumen goes back to Marshall Faulk. So from Marshall Faulk on, Kyler Murray makes plays that you are just like, how are you doing that? He's made plays these last 2 weeks that I'm just like, wow, how are you doing this? There's nothing to explain. He's 26 for 30. He's 29 for 36, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 400 yards passing. I don't know how he's doing this. There's not words that I can put into there's not words you can put into how special Kyler Murray is. Like there's nothing it leaves you breathtaking. It's like, how are you this gifted? You're this gifted. God said, I'm gonna make you gifted. Like the way he evades traffic and throws the ball down the field. They were playing the Vikings, and one of my close childhood friends is a huge Vikings fan. And so Kyler Murray made a huge play and threw the ball down the field, and they scored a touchdown. And I text my guy, and I'm like, Kyler special, ain't he? He said, yeah, that little dude special. There's just nothing you can do with him, especially in this type of game where it was a light show for the most part. But I will say they should, with all that being said, they should have lost. They should have lost on the field goal. But I don't know what the Vikings is trouble with field goals. Doing research for this video, it seems like the Vikings always missing field goals in big time games. I don't know what curse is going on there with that. So he's special. He's a special type of guy. I don't think I had to make the playoffs, but if Kyler Murray gonna play like this, Kyler Murray's in MVP conversations. I didn't have Kyler Murray in my MVP conversations this year. But if he's going to play like this all year with the weapons that he has, because his weapons are comparable to the ones in Dallas. If he's going to play like this all year, then he's going to be in MVP conversation. And not only is he going to be in MVP conversation, he might be a clear runaway because he's playing in the NFC West. He hasn't played in the NFC West opponent, I don't think yet, but he's doing this knowing he's going to play in the NFC West. If he does this against the Rams' great defense, the 49ers' great defense, and Seattle's really good defense, there's nothing you can say about him. He's going to be clear MVP, and they're going to win 11 games, 11, 12 games. So let's go from a guy that's like all the way up here to a guy who's trying to get there, and our guy Jalen Hurts. Now, I don't know if I said this last week about Jalen, but Jalen is becoming a football player. He's becoming a quarterback. I can see that he's playing the position better than he did in college and that he did his rookie year. Like, you might say, oh, no, he's not, blah, blah, blah. But just to my eye, he looks like a quarterback. He doesn't look like a guy playing quarterback. You know how some running backs, you run the Wildcat and you can tell they can't throw? He looked like that last year. He looks like a quarterback this year. So even though he didn't win, and he didn't do much on offense, it's there. The talent is there. I can see the talent. You put him on the Colts, he does better. You put him on the Colts, I think he does better, and he shines. So Jalen Hurts was 12 for 23, 190 yards, 10 carries for 82 yards. They just couldn't get the ball in the end zone. They got into the red zone like 3-4 times. It was either a missed field goal or it was turnover on downs. They just couldn't get the ball in the end zone. You got to stop settling for field goals in a game like this. When it's nip and tuck all the way through, you can't settle for field goals. It wasn't a very sharp day either. Like every time Jalen Hurts had a big play, it was negated for something. Like the play, I don't know if that was to Devontae Adams or somebody else on the sideline. The guy stepped out of bounds, and it was called back for a touchdown. That was a huge play. So they gotta get better at not making these mental errors. They're kind of looking like Carolina of last year to me. Defensive low-scoring game, and they just couldn't eke it out. But that's what happens when you have a young team, a young head coach. You know, these are the type of growing pains that you go through when you have when you're in a rebuild like this. And so I'm going to start calling Jalen Hurts Lamar Curry light, or Lamar Kyler light, because that's what Jalen Hurts is. You put Lamar, you get Lamar body, you get Kyler Murray's athleticism, spit him out, you get Jalen Hurts light, or you get the light version. Like he's like back in the day when your grandma didn't have the money to buy the real ones, the real candy bars. And this is no knock on him, because the candy bars always taste just as good as the original ones, but you know they're not the real ones. You get those. If you like Twix, you'll like these. That's what Jalen Hurts is. If you like Kyler and you like Lamar, you're gonna like Jalen. So no knock against Jalen at all. He's young and getting better, but that's where he is right now in his career. So, and I like it. If he keep playing his way and winning games, I'm gonna buy his jersey, and that's a huge honor because my collection of jerseys is big. So let's get on Dallas. Let's go from a guy who's dynamic at a lot of things to a guy who's really not dynamic at anything. Really, he's dynamic at leadership. That's about it. But Dallas, there's a different aura around Dallas this year, even though with the awful clock management towards the end of the game that I know somebody's going to bring up if I don't bring them up. Because the management at the end of the game was awful. There's no reason you should let all that time come off the clock. I'm yelling at the TV, call a timeout. What are you doing? But McCarthy's lucky he made that field goal. They made that field goal in the walk-off, because he would have some real questions to answer if that wasn't the case. I would love to see Eric Bieniemy coach this team, because they're kind of built. I think Dallas has a better defense than Kansas City, but they're kind of built like Kansas City. I would love to see Eric Bieniemy get this type of job. To coach the Cowboys, oh my God. And to coach the Cowboys without the Jones involved. Because as long as the Jones are involved, the Cowboys are never going to get to the heights they want to get to. And I think that for sure. If I hire somebody, I'm not going to micromanage them. I'm going to make sure they get their job done, and I'm going to let them do their job. But that's the problem with the Joneses. They want to be big dog. Like, y'all make all the money. Y'all are big dogs. Let players play, and coaches coach. You don't see what's his name? The Kraft family all in Belichick's business, unless it came to Tom Brady, and that's a different story. So, but Dallas fought hard. Dallas fought hard. Dak Prescott was 23-27, 237 yards, and interception. This is a hot take. I'm from St. Louis. Clip this, put it on TikTok, do whatever you want to do with it. But I think Tony Pollard should start and get the majority of the carries over Zeke. Because if Tony Pollard going to play like this, then Zeke needs to back up. 13 carries for 109 yards. But Zeke wasn't bad. 16 carries for 71 yards. But if you watch the game, you can say, hey, Tony Pollard got that boom, got that explosiveness that you need. But I think Elliott is kind of going into that late Jerome Bennett role where you're just a big back on third down. So McCarthy's saying they're saving them for when they need them, but I don't know. I wouldn't trade them though. I would keep both of them, but I think I would give Pollard more carries. Let me see the running game. So we keep going with the running game theme. Running game is very important. As you can see, Dak didn't even throw a touchdown, but that's because the running game was flowing. The running game was flowing. They didn't need to. The Chargers couldn't stop the run. So, great game by Dallas. They look like a football team. Normally, the mantra against Dallas is what can't go wrong will go wrong. It didn't look like McCarthy tried to make it go wrong, but it didn't go wrong. So, good job by Dallas. They're 1-1. They're in that awful division. And another hot take, I think Dallas might be able to win 10 games if they're going to play like that. So, and CeeDee Lamb is the number one receiver there now. Just from looking at it, they got CeeDee Lamb running in the backfield. CeeDee Lamb had his fingerprints all over that game. I'm going to show you guys the breakdown of the receivers. And CeeDee Lamb is the guy now. I didn't realize he was that good. But I don't really watch college like that, so. So let's get to the last game of the day. And before we get to the last game of the day, I have a rant that I need to get off my chest. So, prepare for it. You ready? The taunting rule needs to be completely toned down. This is ridiculous. I'll probably get copyrighted, but I don't care. I'm going to show the play of number 2 on Seattle and how they called a taunting penalty on him. And it literally cost Seattle the game because it was on third down. He makes a big play and he jumps up. Now, granted, did he get in his face? Yeah. But he got in his face and ran and walked away. And they called a taunting penalty, and that pretty much completely threw the game off. Now, Seattle wasn't moving the ball and having good, it's not like they was playing really good offense up to that point, but that part right there pretty much sealed their fate because the defense couldn't get off the field at that point. So, but the taunting penalties need to go. At least tone them down. The taunting penalties are awful. I don't know why the owners sit around and saying, let's mess something up. Stop messing stuff up. And I blame the owners because they want it to be super buttoned up. They want it to be like baseball. This is not baseball. This is football. People are expressive. You have testosterone flowing everywhere. These are huge men bumping into other huge men. And in Shannon's case, he said, we playing for tuition. We playing for house mortgages. Let these dudes be excited. It's just awful. The taunting penalty was ridiculous this year, especially this week. It's going to be just like the pass interference call. They're going to act like they want to police it. They're going to get backlash, and then they're going to stop. So the game itself, though, was really good. It was really good. Seattle was dominating. Well, they were winning. They were winning the game up until Tennessee remembered that they had Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is such a monster that me telling you his yards right here is not going to do him no justice. So he had 35 carries for 182 yards. And he had 6 receptions for 55 yards. I'm going to put his graphic up. This dude is something special. I've never seen a running, other than Adrian Peterson, I've never seen a running back dominate the game like this, like he's a receiver or a quarterback. he dominates the game to where it just makes you want to give up. And that's what Seattle, and he bomb rushed. He kept beating Seattle into submission until they gave up. They couldn't stop him. They could not stop him. And then when you try to come up, you hitting those two studs on the outside. So he was hard to stop. Russell Wilson, and most of this was in the first half. Russell Wilson was 22 for 31, 343 yards, 2 touchdowns. The most underrated receivers are both on Seattle. DK Metcalf didn't have like a phenomenal game, but I think he's underrated. But Tyler Lockett was ridiculous. 8 receptions for 178 yards and a touchdown. And these were splash plays. Like, I think both of them were huge down the middle plays. Huge plays. Seattle also had a penalty problem. 100 yards of penalties, you can't win that way. When you're giving up 100 yards of penalties, you're not going to win that game. It's like turnovers in football or turnovers in basketball or football. You keep turning the ball over, eventually you're going to run out of opportunities. And that's what happened in the Seattle game. They gave Tennessee too many opportunities to get back into. And I didn't like the offense in the second half. They're going to have to address that. Something has to change in Seattle. I think Russ should have left, but that's me. So Sierra must have told me to stay. So that's that game. It went into overtime, but Derrick Henry, it was a slug fight, and Derrick Henry dominated the end of it into running a touchdown and sealing the game. So that's really all I got for y'all. Let me know what y'all think. It's a little more ranty than normal. Let me know if y'all like these ranty videos. Because I had a lot to say out and get off my chest. Because people's tripping this week. So, I'll talk to y'all later. Have a good night, good morning, or whenever you watch this. Peace.